Hi fellow reefers, this is Eddie of Eddie's Reef Aquarium. In today's video, I'm going to show you the aquascaping that I'll be doing for the Innovative Marine Nuvo 40 sitting right behind me. Before I start, I thought I'd give you a video of all the amount of rocks that I have here. Obviously, by looking at them, you can tell they are Pukani Dry Rocks. And first of all, I'm going to show you some methods and tricks, techniques that I'll be using from the old school and from the new school. First of all, in reference to putting all these rocks together into the tank, I'm going to go ahead and use certain tools. Number one, hacksaw. As all of you must be familiar, the hacksaw, I'll be using it like if I need to flatten a section out, to flatten it out or in a different angle, then this would be the purpose of the hacksaw. Then the other tools that I'll be using, of course, is a mallet and a chisel. This is the smallest chisel that I have. It's more than enough. Now, being Pukani rocks, as you notice, they have a lot of holes, a lot of crevices, so you have to be careful when I actually hit it with this mallet. That's why I chose a rubber mallet and not a solid mallet, because this will absorb some of the impact when I actually hit it. And this would be like, let's say if I want to do like a cave or something, then you know I would very meticulously start hitting and breaking off little sections. That was the other tool. And for safety purposes, I do have two other items, adhesives. When it comes to that, I got the little fishies, the epoxy 1 and 2. I've got the gray color because due to the fact that these are dry rocks, you can get the other one that's like a red color that shows like coralline, but these being not live rocks with coralline on them, it really doesn't matter. When it comes to me aesthetically, I would prefer to use the gray one, so it will just blend in. And then when coralline algae starts to come out, it will all cover it. And then I have the BSI. This is the glue that I use to put to attach corals to plugs. In this case, I might use it on certain areas to just hold certain rocks together. And then one final technique, one final trick, it's actually this. Okay, this cardboard, as you're noticing, I have marked it around it. Okay, this cardboard is actually the footprint of the actual tank inside. So here you have the actual footprint, which would be the lengthwise and then actually the depth. Okay, what I'm doing with this is that I'm actually allowing 2 inches from the sides and to the front. On the back, you've noticed that I did not put any 2 inches of space. Actually, I can play around with it, so it doesn't really have to be exactly 2 inches from the wall from the back. You might ask, well, why am I doing this? Well, I'm doing it's simply for cleaning purposes. Because on the nano cube that I have, the 9-gallon nano, I did not do this. I did not do this technique. And let me tell you, it's a mission. Sometimes if I want to scrape the side of the tank for algae, it's a major problem. I have to do it with my nails, my finger, or with the magnet that I have. But sometimes, since it's a nano tank and I was I didn't have too much space, so I try to put as much as possible towards the walls, the side walls, and the front. And let me tell you, constantly, I will tell you, I have issues since the corals are growing a lot. I have issues of moving the corals back, moving them into the side, because every time I try to clean the sides or the front, I'll hit a plug or the coral, then I have to move it back. So this is actually like a safety zone. This would be a zone where you shouldn't really work from that zone inside and not outside. Yeah, you might shy away by a little bit going out, but really the safety zone would be the 2 inches. That's what basically recommend, yes, there's not a rule. You can break all rules, like a video that I did on the rule of thirds, which is how people find, when you view a picture or video, how they find it pleasant to your eyes. But that rule can be broken. So you can actually put things on different angles or different areas. So this is just like going back to this topic. This is really like a safety zone. So you're not stuck later on in an issue that you want to spread out more rocks, and then when you're going to clean, you have an issue. I buy all of my corals at Worldwide Coral. I used to go to LFS closer to me, but Worldwide Coral really is the place to call. There's a plug for Worldwide Coral. I'm not getting paid for this or nothing, but I do find that they have a wide selection of corals, from very economical frags at $5 a piece to $30, $40, and if you have the pocket for it, $300, $1,000, and your pocket is the limit of how high you can go. But going back to Worldwide Coral, they have two displays, as you might have seen in their videos. And if you notice on those tanks, when you go in towards your left, you're going to see a beautiful, humongous tank. It's a mixed reef. And sure enough, when you look at the sides, you're never going to see corals that are actually at the end. Yeah, there might be, they have on the right-hand side, they have a fungia. It's all the way to the back, and it's really less than 2 inches to the glass. But this is like a safety zone. And then the other display that they have, which is a humongous tank, same thing. If you look at it, that strictly is just SPS and it's bare bottom. The other one that I mentioned first does have sand, which is how I'm going to do this one. But the big one that they have, which is SPS, is a bare bottom. And again, if you look at the sides, they do not go all the way to the end. There's a safety zone. So the rule of thumb, on average, a basic is the 2 inches to the side and front. So that's basically it for now on the video. I'm going to start to work on the aquascape, and as I go along, I'm going to cut into it and and put some little segments of videos as I decide what aquascape I'm going to use. And at the end of the video, then I'll show you what it looks like before I put it in the tank, and then actually when I go ahead and I position the aquascaping into the tank. So here we go. Okay, here's what I've done. I've placed the footprint of the tank right in front of the rocks that I'm going to be selecting from to put here in the safety zone. Okay, now from the old school of thought, when it comes to aquascaping any tank, whether they're dry rocks like these or live wet rocks, what I would do way back was I would get either paper, newspapers or towels, and place them in front of the tank and put all the rocks that I'm going to go ahead and select to do the aquascape. Now, in that school of thought, what you would do is, here you are, you're in front of the tank, you're looking at these rocks. Then you would start to pick, let me try this rock, let me try that, let me try this. And as you looked at them, you got more or less like a picture of what it was, a picture of the rocks, and looking into the tank, more or less how you could do a nice aquascape. So you would go ahead and start getting the rocks and place them in, and oh, wait a minute, let me get this little rock that's over here, and let me do that. No, wait a minute. The back and forth until you finally come up with a nice aquascaping. Now, using that theory way back of viewing all the rocks before you start anything when it comes to aquascaping, this is what I've done here. What I've done here is, here are all the rocks that I have to select from with the footprint. So now I'm going to start, and I'm going to start to analyze and look the positions of these rocks, how I would place them. Okay, here's what I've decided. Here, as you notice, I have the footprint here, but the rock is way out here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and level this out. I'm going to cut it out with a hacksaw. So here we go. Already started it. Got to go very gently. These rocks are very porous. Okay. Remember always that with these dry rocks, you can do this. You can take all your time. No, there's no need to hurry up. They're dry, so you can play around with it, cut it, look at it again, etc., etc. Okay, we're getting there. Okay. Let's move this to the side. We're almost there. Okay, and there you have it. I cut this piece off. So now we've got this, of course, I can use it. Here's another piece of rock, or I could use it for the aquascape. So now let's position this, and I'll be right back. Okay, here's what I've come up with so far. Here's what I did. This was the section that I cut from the bottom from this huge Pukani rock. So I said, well, out of all the rocks, like I've told you, they're back here. You see, I've been picking and picking different ones. Then I noticed that this one here would actually lock. See, it would lock here in place. So that being the case, then this one I could actually put here, somewhere around. Playing around with this, and then this rock alone, I could actually put there. Now, if you notice one thing, okay, now this again is the footprint. You can go a little out, but just to be safe. This to me looks nice, but the problem is this rock, it's too wide. So what I'm going to do is with a chisel and the hammer, I'm going to see if I can cut off a little, shave off a little of this section. So let's try it and see what happens. Again, this is, you got to do very slow, you know, don't hurry up. Very slow. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, you see what I mean? How you shave them off? Okay, so now let's work on this section here. Okay. Remember, this is a very porous rock. So if you just slam it, you might be in trouble, if you know what I mean. Okay, let's try this a little bit. Okay, whoops, let me get the little piece of rock. It ended up somewhere in the middle of the living room. Okay. So as you notice, slowly but surely, I'm kind of like, shall we call it, shaving this out. Okay, so let's see, there's a little crevice here. Let's hit this. Okay. Right about, I'd say there. Okay, a little section. Slowly but surely, this is how you get there. Let's hit it here. Okay, let's hit it down here. Okay, then here. Hit a middle section here. There you go. As you notice, I'm kind of like, shall I call it, shaving it. See? You see what I mean? Okay. Let's align this up how we had it. Okay. Let's do another little section here. There you go. And this procedure that I'm doing now is the one that you would do to actually do caves, which I'm thinking possibly of a cave right there. Let's hit this right here. and see what happens. Okay. Okay, great. Let's hit here. Okay. Oh, that ended up in the living room too. I'll pick it up. Okay, this one can leave. It's a nice section. Okay, let's hit this here. Okay, let's hit it here. See what happens. Okay. What about here? There's a little crevice, so let's hit this here. There you go. Okay. Looks better, huh? Sure does. Okay, let's just knock that out. Okay. Remember, patience. Okay. Okay. Let's do this here. Okay, and this here, and this one here. Okay. Okay, let's give it another look. Let's see what we got here. Okay. Okay, we have it. Let's see, this could go up to the back a little bit more. This is about there. Okay. Let's take these out. Okay, I know, quite a mess, but welcome to aquascaping. Okay, now, let's see, now this one, let's put the hammer away for a while. Okay, now let's put these aside. You see how I was saying this can actually lock in here. You see, it would lock. And of course, now, being that the case, I would put some epoxy right there and lock it. Okay. Put this here. And possibly put this coming out, I'd say there. What do you think, folks? Again, you know, it doesn't have to be exactly inside. You can play around with it a little, you know, but this would be, I think, as you notice there, it will lock, so I'll epoxy this to there, that there, and I think we have ourselves a nice rock work. So now what I'm going to do is see if I can create like a little cave there. And that, of course, will be done with the chisel and the mallet. So, there you go. Here's a piece that comes out. Another one there, I think, yeah. Okay, look at that. See how it takes shape? Okay, let's do this one here. There you go. Let's get this one here. You see, when it comes to doing caves with the Pukani, you gotta be, as you notice, you see how they work? So you cut this and then you get a little hole and a little hole and you work on it. Okay, and here you have it. So here's the what I came up with. I went ahead and, as I was saying before, with let me get it here, with a chisel and hammer, I was able to do these caves here. I kind of like shaved off some here, and this rock I was able, I'm going to go ahead and lock it here and lock it back here. Now yes, in this type of configuration I will be using some epoxy. I don't see any need to use the BSI in this type of configuration because it's not really small pieces, and when this locks in with the epoxy, that'll actually do it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go to the tank and I'm going to place these rocks inside, and I'll do the final video on how it looks actually inside the actual tank. So as you notice, I did keep myself within the perimeters. Of course, it doesn't have to be exactly in here. It can be a little out, you know, but it's just to give you a ballpark idea so you have enough space so when you clean, you won't go into the hassles that I'm going through on the Nano 9-gallon. So now let's set all this up in the tank, and I'll do the final shot, the final video on how it looks inside the tank. Just hold on 1 second. Okay, and here you have the rock, how it's fused with the putty, with the epoxy putty, as you see it there. And let me swing you to the front part. And here you see the same thing, it's epoxied right there. Okay, and here you have it. Here's the final video on the aquascaping of the Innovative Marine Nuvo 40. This is how it looks like inside the tank. And like I always say at the end of all of my videos, please hit the like button or subscribe to my channel. And right next to the subscription button, there's a little bell. If you activate that, that's the notification. So every time I shoot a video, you're the first one to be notified. And like I say at the end of all my videos, happy reefing. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.